Hello, I'm Justin Smith, and this is NX Tips and Tricks on Vehicle Design Automation, or VDA. Here, we have a concept model for a double-decker bus, and I have been tasked with ensuring the design is compliant with regional standards. I'll start out by creating an assembly to test the concept model. I'll call this ASCII-DD1. Once I have made a new part file, I will import the bus assembly and constrain it to the datum. Next, I will create two new components for the base data and layout data. These will be imported for the Vehicle Design Automation application. Now that the new components are added, we can open the VDA application and select Origin for the vehicle coordinate system, which will be used in the center of the bus at the front axle. If I select Base Data, I can select the appropriate class of vehicle, which would be Class C for the bus, and I can enter the dimensions of the bus into Base Data. However, I have already done this in a spreadsheet, which I'll import into the file using import and export expressions. Now that I have loaded the base data in, I can select base data again, and we can see that the dimensions of the bus are already filled in, so I select OK. I can see that the wheelbase is lined up as needed. I want to reference the base data for the layout as well. I can select base data source and then select base data either in the graphics window or in the assembly navigator. Layout will now reference base data whenever it is needed, but it will not copy the data unless it is used in the layout component. Now that we have the layout base data set up, we can use the 2D mannequin command to add a driver and passenger to the bus. I will start with the driver, and I'll want to use this SAE standard and make the driver a 95th percentile human. I could also change the posture definition here if needed, but this will be fine for now. I will want to check for each of these outputs though. Looking through the results, we can see that the ankle angle is slightly out of range, as well as the driving posture. We can repeat this with the passengers, but we won't view results for this demonstration. For the passenger up here, we'll select a 50th percentile human. For the passenger back here, we'll select a 10th percentile human. We can see the sketches for each of the 2D mannequins we created, and now they fit in the bus now. Next, I will select eye ellipse, determine the standard, and review the clearance values before selecting Finish. I can go to Groups in the Part Navigator to show or hide different parts of the eye ellipse. For now, we'll just show the eye ellipse. Next, I want to check the windshield vision zones, so I select this function. Since we already defined the eye ellipse, I will select this one. I will also want to make sure I am using the correct standard and vehicle classification. Then, I'll select the windshield surfaces, and I can select the wiper system pattern. If I click on the book icon here, a small window will display an example of the pattern type. We'll use a double pantograph. Then, I can select the pivot point for the wipers, left and then right. Then I will change the arm length and blade length to match that of the bus. Then I'll click OK. We can see that the wipers cover the required areas here. In this demonstration, we imported a concept model into a new assembly and imported base data to use for our layout. We then placed 2D mannequins in the bus and created an eye ellipse to test the windshield vision zones. Thank you.